What if I told you that the life you know is only a fraction of reality? That while you watch this video, there are versions of you making completely different choices in invisible places. Quantum physics not only suggests this, it offers clear evidence that parallel universes are much more than science fiction, and this may be the most disturbing and at the same time liberating revelation you've ever heard. Think about how many times you've caught yourself saying, "What if I had made a different choice?" Most people believe those alternatives died in the past, but quantum proof points to something counterintuitive. Those versions are still alive in alternate realities, branches of the multiverse that coexist right now. And here's where the paradox shows up. Because while science tries to explain it with numbers and equations, spirituality recognizes it as a direct reflection of your spiritual choices. The reward is clear. If reality is not fixed, but malleable, then you are not trapped in a single narrative. You hold in your hands the chance to access an expanded consciousness, capable of changing the course of your life faster than you ever imagined. What looks like unchangeable destiny may only be one path among thousands, waiting for the moment your mind tunes in to the right quantum frequency within the quantum field. And here's the provocative part. Most people live as if there's only one possible reality. But those who understand the quantum proof of parallel universes discover that it's not about waiting for miracles, but about consciously choosing where to place their attention. What you call the present is only the reflection of the version you decided to observe. And what if you had the power to change that reflection right now? This isn't some vague esoteric concept, but something tested in laboratories like the experiments on superposition and quantum entanglement. What once seemed impossible, science now shows as real. And as uncomfortable as it may sound, the fact is, the universe is not limited to what your eyes can see. The mystery goes beyond that, and that's exactly why you are here. Now the big question is, how can you use this revelation to transform your practical life, your purpose, and even the path of your spiritual choices? That's what we're going to dive into over the next few minutes, and you won't want to miss a single detail. Some people believe life follows a straight line, predictable like the hands of a clock. That is the classical view of the world, where everything can be calculated if you know the right variables. But when we dive into quantum physics, we realize this logic doesn't apply to the deepest fabric of reality. And this is where the shock happens. The universe is not made only of certainties, but of possibilities. It's in this space that parallel universes begin to reveal themselves. Imagine you're about to choose between two paths in your life: accepting a job offer or pursuing a personal dream. In the classical world, only one choice takes place. But in the realm of quantum frequency, both choices can coexist as invisible potentials. It's as if every decision opens doors to alternate realities, all sustained by a single quantum field pulsing with endless possibilities. This shock is not just theoretical. It changes the way we see ourselves. Traditional science used to say, "You are the result of chance and determinism." But expanded consciousness shows us that the observer participates actively in the creation of reality. Your attention works like a spotlight within the multiverse, illuminating one version of the experience among thousands. In other words, the power of choice is not an illusion, it's a creative trigger. Perhaps you felt this in small everyday situations. That time when two opportunities appeared at once, and suddenly, your life took an unexpected turn. That is the echo of superposition in your practical reality. Life doesn't move on a straight highway, but on a web of possibilities where each step opens invisible forks. For many, this idea feels uncomfortable because it breaks the illusion of total control. After all, if there are multiple versions of what could happen, how can we be sure we're on the best path? That's where spiritual choices come in. It's not only about making rational decisions, but about aligning yourself with the inner frequency that connects your soul to the quantum field. That alignment directs you toward a reality that resonates with your true purpose. And this is where the shock of quantum physics becomes fascinating. We are not limited to a single timeline, but we navigate an ocean of potential realities. But if the universe offers so many possibilities, how can a simple electron prove that two paths can exist at the same time? That's exactly what we're about to explore next. When people hear about superposition, they often think of science fiction, but the truth is even more surprising. An electron, for example, doesn't choose to go through one slit or the other, like we would when walking through a door. It goes through both at the same time. This phenomenon, proven in experiments, is living evidence that quantum physics doesn't follow the same rules as our everyday world. What we call solid reality is, in fact, an invisible dance inside the quantum field. Think of a practical example. Have you ever felt torn between two equally strong options, like deciding whether to go out with friends or stay home? Until you decide, it's as if you're living in alternate realities, experiencing each scenario in potential form. Only when the decision is made, when the wave function collapse happens, does one version appear before your eyes. But the others don't disappear. They keep existing in other parallel universes. This principle teaches us something powerful. Reality isn't fixed, it's fluid. And your consciousness is the key. When someone expands their vision beyond routine, they access an expanded consciousness that allows them to perceive hidden opportunities. It's like life deals more cards onto the table, and you get to choose which one to play. The quantum frequency of your attention decides which card becomes reality. There's also a beauty in this mystery. Imagine listening to two different songs at the same time and suddenly realizing that harmony happens because one completes the other. That's how superposition works. Multiple possibilities coexist, and, when observed, they create something unique. The multiverse is not just a theory, but a reflection that inside you also exist unexplored versions, waiting for their moment to appear. Take a simple example from daily life. Think of a friend who says, "If I had made a different decision years ago, my life would be totally different." According to quantum physics, that other life didn't remain just in the imagination. It exists, but in another layer of the multiverse. You may not see it, but a part of you walks that path, proving reality is much larger than the linear mind can comprehend. And here comes the big question. If every choice creates branches of life, if each moment opens hidden paths, what happens when two souls meet and connect beyond space and time? That's where the mystery deepens and leads us to the enigma of quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement is one of the most intriguing phenomena in modern science. It shows that two particles, once connected, remain bonded forever, no matter how far apart they are. It's as if nature itself were telling us that space cannot limit true connections. Deep down, every human has already felt something like this, thinking of someone, and, seconds later, receiving a message from them. What many call coincidence, quantum physics reveals as the reflection of how connections work inside the quantum field. Picture two souls that meet in this lifetime. They may follow different paths, yet the bond never disappears. It's as if they live in alternate realities but still share an invisible bridge. This phenomenon is similar to entangled particles. When one changes, the other responds instantly. Within the multiverse, this suggests that every relationship, every choice, and every encounter leaves traces that reverberate in all directions. There are incredible stories that show this in practice. A twin who feels pain when the other is hurt even miles away. Couples who sense accidents or major changes without any direct communication. These are signs that expanded consciousness isn't limited to the physical body, but vibrates at a quantum frequency that connects beings, places, and even parallel worlds. And it's not only about mystical experiences. Scientists have tested this in labs, separating particles by long distances and still observing simultaneous reactions, as if space itself were an illusion. The wave function collapse of one particle instantly echoes in the other. What happens? In one spot reverberates in another with no delay, as if the universe were a single mind spread across billions of points. This understanding opens the door to profound reflections on spiritual choices. If we are all entangled in some way, then every act of kindness, every word, every positive or negative action doesn't just affect you, but also others, on invisible scales. What you choose in the present may not only change your life, but ripple across entire universes of possibility. And if this is true, an even deeper question arises. If we're all connected by invisible threads, what really happens when we decide to observe reality, when we choose to look at a phenomenon? Could it be that our attention itself is what shapes the world around us? That's where the mystery of wave function collapse begins to unfold. In quantum physics, there is a fascinating paradox. When no one is observing, particles flow naturally through the quantum field, existing in multiple possibilities. But the moment someone looks, the wave function collapse occurs. It's as if reality itself says, "Now I'll choose a form for you to see." And this isn't just a scientific phenomenon, it mirrors life. How many times has reality seemed to change simply because you started paying attention to something? Think of a practical situation. Someone never notices business opportunities until they start studying finance. Suddenly, chances seem to appear everywhere. Those opportunities were always there, but they only became visible when attention lit up that space. This is exactly what happens in quantum collapse. Among all the alternate realities, only one materializes for the observer. Your consciousness is the trigger that decides which one takes shape. This mystery has led many thinkers to describe the human mind as a co-creator of reality. When someone expands their vision, they reach an expanded consciousness capable of shaping results. At that moment, the observer is no longer passive, but becomes an active participant in the multiverse. This idea connects science and spirituality, showing that our spiritual choices are not just internal, but ripple through the very fabric of existence. And you can see this in daily life. An athlete visualizes victory over and over before the competition. When the moment comes, the body obeys the mental programming. Wave function collapse is like life saying, "I'll align with your expectation." Science calls it observation, but in simple words, it's focus. It's the quantum frequency of your mind deciding what becomes tangible. But here's a detail that makes it even deeper. Every time we make a conscious choice, we let go of thousands of other paths that continue existing in other corners of the parallel universes. Collapse doesn't destroy those other realities. It only connects us to one of them. This perspective can bring both relief and unease, because if so many versions are happening, how can we be sure we're living the best one? And this is where the great revelation appears. If all possibilities remain alive, if every decision creates infinite branches, then perhaps the most elegant explanation is that we don't live in a single world, but in countless ones. And that leads us to the greater mystery. The parallel universes, the boldest and most coherent version of truth. The boldest and at the same time the most elegant interpretation of quantum physics is the idea of parallel universes. Unlike the traditional view, which suggests that reality collapses into a single version, the multiverse shows us that all possibilities come to life. No future is destroyed, and they simply branch infinitely. Every choice, every glance, every breath opens new paths, and you are in all of them, living different versions of yourself. Picture yourself at a decisive moment, moving to a new city, entering a relationship, or taking a leap of faith toward your life's mission. In the classical view, you only live, the consequence of one choice. But within the quantum field, each decision branches like the limbs of a tree. In one universe, you chose one direction. In another, you did the opposite. This isn't science fiction. It's the mathematics of reality itself. What we call life is only a fragment of countless alternate realities. This perspective doesn't dismiss the importance of your choices. On the contrary, it reinforces that spiritual choices determine the frequency you experience here and now. Your expanded consciousness acts like a compass within the multiverse. It doesn't erase the other paths, but connects you to the version most aligned with what you want to manifest. It's like tuning into a radio station. All the songs are in the air, but you only hear the one you choose. And here lies the transformative point. If every outcome happens somewhere, then life isn't about fearing lost opportunities, but about aligning with the quantum frequency that brings you the highest reality. It doesn't matter if in another universe you gave up, failed, or got lost. In this universe, your power lies in consciously choosing the path that resonates most with your soul. Many people get uneasy with the idea of infinite selves, scattered across different dimensions. But instead of being a burden, this can be a relief. You don't have to carry eternal regrets because all versions coexist. What matters is, which one will you choose to live fully right now? Presence is the key to becoming the protagonist, not a prisoner, of endless possible paths. And perhaps the greatest secret is this: the multiverse is not just a scientific concept, but a spiritual invitation. At every moment, you're choosing between living on autopilot or accessing a more conscious, richer, and more awakened universe. And this is exactly where the big reflection arises. Now that you know this, what will you do with it? Treat it as passing curiosity, or apply it in your daily life to transform your reality? Now that you understand how quantum physics points to parallel universes, it becomes impossible to see life the same way. Every moment is a crossroads, and the wavefunction collapse happens when you decide where to place your attention. The real question is, will you keep living on autopilot, repeating old patterns, or will you use your expanded consciousness to choose a higher path within the multiverse? The most provocative part is realizing that the versions of you who gave up, failed, or got lost still exist in alternate realities. But so do the versions where you thrived, loved, fulfilled your purpose, and awakened to your true power. And it's only through your spiritual choices that you align with the right quantum frequency to bring that reflection into your present now. So what will you do after this video? Will you continue seeing reality as something fixed, or will you begin acting as a co-creator, tuning your heart and mind to the quantum field that holds all possibilities? Life won't wait for you. Every thought, every emotion, every action is a choice of universe. And if you truly believe you got here by chance, think again. Maybe, right at this moment, another version of you decided not to watch this video. But the version that stayed is the one ready to awaken. So tell me in the comments, which universe do you want to live in from now on? If this content expanded your vision, start applying it right away. Try observing your thoughts and choices more consciously. Test it. Watch how your reality responds. Then share your discoveries, because each of your experiences also inspires other minds to awaken inside this multiverse. And before you go, remember, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you'll keep learning how to access the full power of quantum physics and transform your spiritual choices into real, tangible outcomes. After all, you're not alone in this journey. We're all connected, entangled in the same great mystery of the quantum field.